Hey guys, don't forget to hit the bell icon next to the subscribe button so that you can be notified every time I come up with a new video. Hi guys, what's up? Thank you so much for coming back. I'm Arpita and I welcome you back once again to the Crazy Wisdom. Today it's time for the compatibility video of the week, and today we'll be looking into how compatible are the water bearers, the Aquarians, with the rest of the Zodiac family. And so let's get done with the chatter batter and jump straight into the video. Put on your thinking caps and your wisdom boots. You know the rest. Alright, so when an Aries comes into the picture, well, the level of fun with an Aquarius goes way up because, an Aquarius wants to do everything extraordinary and everything weird at every moment of their life that passes by. And adventure is the other name for Aries. Now, the level of love somewhat suffers here because although the Aries is also not that possessive and not that over-the-top demanding in a romantic situation, but because they rule the first house of the horoscope, which is the house of self, and therefore at the end of the day, an Aries always demands a lot of attention and a lot of pampering and a lot of those lovey-dovey things which an Aquarius actually runs from throughout their lives. Work again does well here because, an Aquarius is a born entrepreneur and they have a lot of rough outer worldly ideas in their mind, and when they get together with an Aries, a lot of action and a lot of implementation gets attached to their ideas. The only glitch here is that fights can occur when an Aquarius's larger than life humanitarian ideas clash with an Aries' idea of self-care and self-attention as a priority, and therefore this one thing needs to be taken care of, otherwise this relationship works well. Now when we talk about a Taurus and an Aquarius, well, fun, not at all, because an Aquarius has a lot of exploratory and a lot of different ideas that they want to implement on a daily basis, and they want to do something different, something new, something untouched every other day. Whereas a Taurus loves reality, they love stability, and they love reliance on something. So they wouldn't mind going back to the tried and tested things. Now love also suffers here big time because feeling emotions and showing emotions is a strict no-no in an Aquarian's life, whereas sensuality and a regular display of emotions is what fuels a Taurian's romantic life, and therefore again a major clash. Work again is a major no-no here because for an Aquarius, they want their work profile to cut through the chains of reality and become something that gives them shudders. Their ideas are so quirky that hardly anyone understands them. Whereas a Taurus again is very sound and a very realistic person and very, very money-minded when it comes to gaining and accumulating wealth and assets, and they always want to invest in something very concrete, something that shows returns for the amount of investment that they have done. And therefore a lot of things mismatch here, and on an overall basis this relationship does not work at all. Now when we talk about an Aquarius and a Gemini, well, this is a very sound match because here it is like a curious kid comes in contact with their curious uncle, and both of them just go out to satisfy their curiosity by exploring everything that they can. Love again works brilliantly because both these signs are like really commitment phobic and they are the no strings attached sort of people, and it works just perfectly here. Now work here can be a bit tricky because both these signs are air signs, and they have this tendency of drifting away and becoming really laid back towards their responsibilities, and no one sort of comes back to pick the other person up. So this can be a little problematic, but if this is taken care of responsibly, overall this relationship will work really well. Alright, so when we talk about an Aquarius and a Cancerian, well, does this even need an explanation? I mean, the god of emotions, love and care comes in contact with the god of aloofness, the god of seclusion and the god of detachment. And this one aspect in their life becomes so overpowering that nothing else matters because both of these things are like the DNA for both of them, and they cannot live without their basic trait, and therefore this relationship falters big time and very rarely can we see it working well. Alright, so when we talk about a Leo and an Aquarius, well, the level of fun goes way up here because things like cautiousness, inhibitions and the like sort of die away when these two come together, and one is air and the other is fire, and both of them sort of push each other to waste the night away without thinking about anything else in the world. Love here can be a bit tricky because at the end of the day the lion definitely demands a passionate and emotional exchange between partners, whereas an Aquarius is miles away from that and they fail to provide such an interaction. Work on the positive side works really well here because pure creativity meets pure imagination, and what else do you need as an ingredient to success? And thus overall, if we look at this relationship, it works well. Now when we talk about an Aquarius and a Virgo, well, look at it like this. An Aquarius has the capability to go out for 6 months on a cave exploration and worry about bills and agreements and contracts only when he comes back. Whereas a Virgo wouldn't step out of the house until their entire next week is planned and done with, and therefore there's a major personality clash here and they do not match. Love again does not strike a chord here, because though a Virgo takes the longest time to commit and enter into a relationship, but once they do, they would leave no stone unturned to, hold on to that bond. And they would give everything up but not give that relationship. But an Aquarius is completely opposite to that. Mention the word commitment and they run a mile away from you. Work again, well, analysis, stability, gross is to net, profit is to loss, meets creativity, dreaminess, imagination, and seeing the world through rose-tinted glasses. Well, there is no match, and overall this relationship fails to work. Alright, so when we talk about a Libra and an Aquarius, well, fun here is amazing because, when these two come together, they find their body double in the other person. Sometimes fun-loving, sometimes entertaining, sometimes moody, sometimes aloof. Both of these are just like each other. And if you look into the horoscope closely, Aquarius is the 5th house from the house of Libra. And 5th, as we know, is the house of entertainment, fun, enjoyment, and all the happiness-seeking things in life. And therefore, a Libra very comfortably finds all the fun and entertaining elements when they come together with an Aquarius. Love here is something that we should not talk about, because a Libra is a completely committed, a completely flirtatious, a completely romance-seeking and running towards romance sort of a person, and an Aquarius is 180 degrees away from a Libra. But the only positive in the aspect of love here is that a Libra is also an air sign like an Aquarius, and therefore if they do not get those many emotions and possessiveness from their partner, from their Aquarius partner, they do not mind that, but them just knowing that they are together will be enough. And that is the reason why these two can actually work, despite of the fact that, they are so contradictory. Work profile also works brilliantly here, because we have a very, very creative Libra by an Aquarius' side, and therefore they completely understand their need to be quirky and different and weird. And as an add-on to that, Libra is also an analytical, business-minded and a very structured personality, and therefore they give a very amazing form and reality to the rough imaginative ideas that an Aquarius has. So it is a win-win situation, and therefore if small little things are taken care of, this relationship definitely works. Now when we talk about a Scorpio and an Aquarius, well, this is a very, very dangerous bond, and it is a better be left alone sort of a relationship. A Scorpio's basic territory is passion, romance, possessiveness, jealousy, a sort of ownership towards their partner. Whereas an Aquarius, on the other hand, is someone who cherishes free-birdedness, They are the people who have this life goal of cutting themselves off from emotions, from possessiveness, from, being a liability over the other person, or making the other person an emotional liability on them. So, this is something that they never step in their lives, no matter what. And if they decide to do that, if they decide to give this a chance, both of them would come out of the bond in a very drained and in a very exhausted form. And they would end up losing their own selves in the pursuit of making the other person happy. And therefore this relationship should be left alone, and this does not work at all. Now when a Sagittarius enters into a relationship with an Aquarius, well, fun and love elements are really amazing here, because an Aquarius sort of gets whatever they demand from their partner when they come in contact with the Sagittarius. An uninhibition in enjoying, a craving to explore new things and gain as much knowledge as possible, and at the same point of time giving each other a practical, friendly, and a very easy on the heart sort of a romantic life. And therefore this has to work. But the only glitch here is that a Sagittarius is a person who is at the center of the stage, and an Aquarius, on the other hand, is a complete loner. So sometimes this sort of a detachment can occur in their relationship and impact the entire scenario. Work can be a bit tricky here, because a Sagittarius is way quicker than an Aquarius in implementing things and their ideas and putting them into action. And then there is this Jupiter's energy of expansion and going out and doing things, and the Saturn's energy of contracting and setting up limits and boundaries for the person. But because these things are not deal breakers, and they can actually bring out the best in both of them when they work together as a couple, therefore overall this relationship actually strikes a chord and it works well. Now when we talk about a Capricorn and an Aquarius, well, the level of fun does not work at all, because a Capricorn would never leave their work to go and get some alone time in some random jungle, which an Aquarius usually does in order to find peace. The aspect of love, not really, because Both of these people though do not demand a lot of things from each other, but because of their habit of getting involved in their own lives and in their own domains, become so strong many a times that they sort of drift away from each other, and a emotional and sentimental void comes in between them. This thing leads them to breaking away from each other very, very easily and very, very often. The aspect of work can work, but only if an Aquarius decides to show some concrete plans and strategies and some real ideas to a Capricorn, and a Capricorn understands the need to bring in a twist and a quirk and some sort of a randomness and newness in their projects and in their ideas that they're working on. So, if these things are kept in mind, then this relationship can work for a while, but overall, it is not such a great match. Now, when two Aquarians come together, as I've already talked about it, that when two same zodiacs come in a relationship, although the compatibility is there, the understanding is there, but there's an equal amount of monotony and a lack of newness and a lack of energy. There's a lot of understanding and a lot of desire to support the other person in their dreams and ambitions. But at the same point of time, there's no contrast. There's no desire to know the other person because there's nothing new about them. And because an excess of everything is bad, therefore, although this relationship falls somewhere in the middle and it is manageable, but it is not such a great one. Now, finally, when a Pisces and an Aquarius come together, not really, because a Pisces is again that pool of emotions and fairy tale romance and a hand-in-hand sort of a person, whereas an Aquarius is a complete contrast to it. Their life aim is liberation from all such emotions, and an Aquarius runs as far away as possible when they see such a scenario taking shape. Work again, somewhere though it falls in a good plane because both of them are really creative and imaginative, and therefore they understand each other's need to be like that. Because there's too much of this one thing, therefore sometimes their ideas lack that direction and lack that concrete reality that that is needed. And thus this is the place that both of them feel stuck with each other. And though this relationship on an overall basis has its own positives, but still a lot of work needs to be done in order to keep this on track, and therefore on an overall basis it is not such a great match. Alright guys, so with this I put a wrap on today's video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, don't forget to leave a cute thumbs up right underneath it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel in order to remain updated with all the latest news on zodiacs, astrology and motivation. With this, I'll be meeting you again too soon, but don't forget to be crazy and wise until we meet for the next time. I'll see you guys soon now. Bye bye.